Creepy Kamala Facts.
With less than 2 weeks to go before the November 3rd, 2020 election, and less than 2 weeks before Halloween, we thought it would be good to bring you some creepy Kamala Facts.
Creepy Kamala Facts.
Creepy fact number 1. In 2015, after years of painstaking undercover video investigative journalism, David Daleiden and his team, centerformedicalprogress.org, brought to the nation's attention and the world's attention video proof of Planned Parenthood's involvement in the harvesting and sale of fetal organs.
Reach makes it a lot easier because, but the thing is, there's still going to have to be some decompression of the calvarium for it to come out. So.
This harvesting and sale of fetal organs included beating hearts and intact human brains. Was the evidence real? Did it have credibility? Well, based on that video evidence, local law enforcement in Orange County, California, filed charges against Da Vinci Biosciences, who ended up paying $7.8 million in judgments and admitted guilt to their involvement with the procurement of fetal organs.
By the way, those business partners, the Da Vinci companies, they actually admitted guilt in a $7.8 million settlement for illegally selling body parts from abortions at Planned Parenthood Orange County.
But Planned Parenthood was not going to take this lying down, so they engaged Attorney General Kamala Harris to come to their defense. This resulted in a 6 a.m. raid to David's apartment and the confiscation of all his equipment and many files. Moreover, this was the first and only case in 60 years to be brought against an undercover, independent, investigative video journalist. California undercover video law only allows for prosecution for recording conversations that would not likely be overheard. So David and his team were meticulous to only record conversations that took place in public places like malls and restaurants. Also, California law excludes video that captures evidence of violence. Does the removal of a baby with a beating heart by suction from his mother's womb classify as violent? We think it does.
Was to document and expose the violent crimes of fetal trafficking, including selling infants aborted alive and killing them through organ harvesting.
Further, in a legal system that places so much importance on precedent, it should be noted that dozens, if not hundreds, of undercover videos have been used by the media to expose dangerous food handling, animal abuse, unlicensed gun and ammunition sales, all without prosecution. Planned Parenthood officials, including Dr. Jennifer Russo, met with Kamala Harris to engage her to do their bidding in this matter.
Who was the top abortion doctor for Planned Parenthood Orange County supplying those body parts? Dr. Jennifer Russo, one of the participants in the March 2016 meeting with Kamala Harris.
And she acquiesced, heeding their wishes in her prosecutorial activities, including the 6 a.m. raid on David Daleiden's apartment. In exchange, Kamala Harris won the support and financial support of Planned Parenthood. Kamala Harris never lifted a finger about the illegal harvesting and sale of fetal organs. She only went after David Daleiden, and that's why we consider this a creepy Kamala fact.
Creepy Kamala Facts.
Kamala Harris helped the Catholic Church cover up pedophilia, molestation, and rape by bishops and priests. Kamala Harris' predecessor, Terrence Hallinan, had taken the side of dozens of victims of priest sexual abuse. Even though many of these cases had gone beyond the statute of limitation, Hallinan's office was actively working to protect the victims and their families and help them see justice by assisting them in civil suits brought against the Catholic Church and its priests. Unfortunately, Terrence Hallinan was not reelected. Instead, he was beaten at the polls by a young, ambitious up-and-comer named Kamala Harris, who had taken thousands of dollars from the Catholic Church, its lawyers, and board members, at least $60,000. This helped Kamala Harris win election, and in return, she completely deep-sixed the files, completely ignored them. As one observer, Joey Piscatelli, a victim, put it, it went from Terrence Hallinan going 100 miles an hour, full speed ahead, after the Catholic Church, to Kamala Harris doing absolutely nothing and taking it backwards 100 miles an hour. Harris even refused to speak to the victims and later claimed the files had been misplaced. This denied countless victims their day in court and shielded the Catholic Church from any responsibility for the horrific actions of its priests. The victims are still hurting, and the church still escapes any responsibility, all thanks to Kamala Harris. That's why we consider this a Kamala creepy fact.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Creepy fact 3, Kamala Harris is actually on the record as being for the decriminalization of prostitution, including teenage prostitution. She has stated it's time to go after the Johns and the pimps. Well, that's probably a good idea, but in the end, she wants prostitution to be legal even if it involves young girls and boys. That's why we consider this to be a creepy Kamala fact.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Creepy fact 4, Kamala Harris is a staunch supporter of the Equality Act. One of the attributes of this act is that it allows males to compete with females in sporting activities. Selena Soul is an example of a talented young lady that lost her chance at an athletic scholarship due to having to compete with biological males. By the way, these males have access to a girl's locker room in a Kamala Harris world. That's why we consider this to be a creepy Kamala fact.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Creepy fact 5. Harris opposed the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. This bill was introduced in January of 2019. It would afford babies who survive abortion attempts and are born alive, we're talking live babies, the same rights to medical care that any other living person would enjoy. Astonishingly, Kamala Harris voted against this bill. In other words, a living baby who just survived an abortion attempt would be denied medical care and left to, or helped to, die. That's why we consider this to be a creepy Kamala fact.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Creepy fact 6. Kamala Harris got her start in politics thanks to the introductions and appointments to important positions by her lover, Willie Brown, State Assembly Speaker and later Mayor of San Francisco. Brown was 60 at the time and married. Kamala Harris was only 29 when they began their illicit affair. Is it illegal for a 29-year-old politically ambitious woman to have an affair with a 60-year-old powerfully connected man? No, it's not. It's just creepy.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Kamala Harris was placed on the Biden ticket because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. America will no doubt one day nominate and elect a woman of color to be vice president or even president of the United States. When that happens, let's hope, let's pray that we elect a woman of character and godly values. Kamala Harris is none of those, and that's a creepy Kamala fact.
Creepy Kamala facts.
Before you go to the polls on November 3rd, I hope that you will carefully consider these creepy Kamala facts.
Creepy Kamala facts.